By far, one of the questions I get asked the most by newcomers to my channel is, do I use a mouse and keyboard on console? And the answer is, of course, no, I use a DualShock 4 controller. But the more and more I get asked that, I can't help but think about the state of console gaming and how it is seemingly headed down a path to where not only is mouse and keyboard going to be common on console, but perhaps it's going to be even native with the next generation of consoles. Now, for me, as I've already stated, I play controller. I grew up with a controller in my hands probably 90% of my time playing video games as a kid. The other 10% was probably me swinging a plastic stick at a TV playing Wii Sports in my living room. But to the point, as mouse and keyboard becomes more common in the realm of console gaming today, should we consider playing mouse and keyboard on console cheating? Now, this is going to be a tricky video to write, and I've gone through multiple rewrites of it because I know that there is a really large percentage of players that treat players who play with mouse and keyboard like they found out that those players just ruined their sister's virginity. But there are a lot of players that do view M&K as a dishonorable and disgusting practice, and in my personal opinion, it's a bit ridiculous to be that harsh on it, because the reality of the situation is that when you get to a certain level of playing, mouse and keyboard can purely become about preference and not about gaining an advantage like most players think. So to answer that part of the question, for those of you who just want me to get straight to the point about it, is using mouse and keyboard on console cheating? Yes and no, but mostly no. But before you click off the video, I would love to explain to you why I think this way. Now, before any of you think my opinion is a wash and hog piss, I want to reiterate something that my core audience understands, but for those of you who don't know who I am and don't know, I play the game competitively on console. And the reason I beat this over the head sometimes is because playing competitive matches are a complete different feeling and playstyle to that of playing in a public lobby. I also make this distinction because there is unfortunately a lot of mouse and keyboard players at the highest levels of competition on Battlefield 5, and this isn't an exclusive issue to just Battlefield. Other popular first-person shooters like Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch also have a lot of mouse and keyboard at the highest levels of their competitive scenes. Apex Legends is recently coming into the problem as well, as that game gains popularity in the competitive scene. So at a certain skill level, the fact that you use M&K doesn't matter, at least in Battlefield 5, because in layman's terms, I kill people that use M&K and they kill me, and it's generally an equal trade-off. But that doesn't mean that mouse and keyboard isn't strictly cheating just because I see an equal trade-off in kills. I don't expect you to see it the same way that I do in that sense. So at the end of the day, I think it just depends on how loose your definition of the term cheating is when it comes to video games. Do you see anything besides using the standard DualShock 4 controller as cheating? Or are you the type of person that thinks a SCUF controller is cheating because it offers players the ability to do things that a regular DualShock 4 user would have a hard time doing? Most would answer no, because SCUF has been around for a long time and it only offers you marginal advantages, mainly being able to do things more easily, such as jumping without having to move a thumb to press a button, and aiming with paddles, and so on and so forth. It's a pay-to-win item that people are seemingly okay with. So why are people so damning of mouse and keyboard? Another pay-to-win item that offers easier play than somebody that's using a DualShock 4 controller. Surely you all see this double standard here. Why is there this confusing double standard when not only can it be difficult to learn mouse and keyboard if you've never used one before, but it also only increases your performance marginally before your own personal skill improves? Because let's not forget that people can improve without mouse and keyboard. I just don't see mouse and keyboard as cheating. I see it as a high-risk, high-reward, pay-to-win item. And the fact of the matter is that pay-to-win has been a problem in gaming for a long time. Is it scummy and deplorable? Yes. But is it cheating? No. I think that there is a strong misconception that switching to mouse and keyboard makes you a better player instantly. And that's not true. People view it almost like a get-good overnight package, if you will. But the reality is that a good percentage of players that switch to mouse and keyboard, at least in my experience, either don't see improvement at all in their game or improve only minimally to justify their Zim purchase. What is a Zim? Well, Zim is the main adapter used by mouse and keyboard players to play on console and is currently priced at $125 on Amazon. That is a pretty steep price just to play mouse and keyboard on console, if you ask me, and oftentimes it has a very little payoff. That is, if you are going from playing console to mouse and keyboard without playing mouse and keyboard before. Not to mention that there are a whole bunch of configurations and settings that you need to fine-tune in order for your Zim to work properly. It just doesn't become a monetary investment, is what I'm trying to say, but it also becomes a time investment as well. Now, is all of this justification for mouse and keyboard on console? No, that's not what I'm saying, but what I am saying is that on a certain level, when you look past the paywall, the reality is that MNK requires a certain amount of skill to operate if you don't use aim assist. But that's a big if you don't use aim assist, and I think that's where people start to pound the drum that mouse and keyboard is cheating, because it is true that mouse and keyboard can rotate your cursor faster and it will stick better with aim assist. I still think that it's more pay to win than it will ever be cheating, however. About 3 months or so ago now, I took a trip up to New Jersey to visit my teammate and now close real-life friend Tito. Tito and his wife have been playing PC for years now, and for the fun of it, I decided to play Battlefield 5 on PC. Folks, I have never played on PC before, but when I tell you that it took me only a handful of games to get the hang of playing on PC, it was actually quite shocking to me. It took me a small amount of time, maybe only 3 or 4 games, to learn the key bindings, how to use the mousepad, how far to swipe in certain situations, but eventually, I was performing slightly below the standard that I play on console and the level of play that you see in my streams and videos. Now, some of you are probably saying, wait a minute, Kat, you were saying that playing mouse and keyboard doesn't make you better, and it takes a while to get used to, and it can be hard to learn, but you learned it in just a few games. Aren't you contradicting yourself? Well, I didn't play better, I played about the same. I also talked about the misconception that mouse and keyboard will make you better instantly, and that the reality is that it will only bring you very minor improvements. So, despite learning how to play on PC quite quickly and surprising everybody, even myself, the point of all of this is that I believe that if you are good at the game, you are good at the game, no matter what platform you play on. There are certain skills that a mouse and a keyboard or a controller can't provide for you, and that is map knowledge, positioning, knowledge of recoil patterns, game mechanics, and rotations. It doesn't matter what you use. If you are good at those things, you are going to be good at the game. Using a mouse and keyboard on console gives you the opportunity to amplify that skill set, but it does not affect the game code, and it does not affect how others play the game. Therefore, it's not cheating, it is simply a high-risk, high-reward, pay-to-win item. Now, I say all of this, but I should make it clear that I don't agree with mouse and keyboard. If you do use mouse and keyboard to try to gain a competitive advantage, I look down on you and I will judge you for it. There is a reason why everybody hates it so much, and people are upset that there's not a more even playing field. Now, there are some cases in which PC players buy Zim so that they can play with their friends on console, and I don't really have a big problem with this, because anybody using a Zim in a public lobby to play with their friends doesn't have cheating or pay to win on their mind, and more often than not, those players are not top tier players. In most cases, you don't go to console for competition, you go to PC, but that in itself creates a double standard. It's okay for some people to use it because they aren't that good and don't have malicious intent, yada yada. I'm well aware that that double standard is created, but that's just kind of the way it is, unfortunately, and I suppose, if anything, I'm trying to prevent people from going after other players who use MNK strictly because it's easier for them to play with their friends. There's nothing really wrong with that. There is a reason, however, that a lot of top players use MNK, and sure, it's because of their base skill of the game, but it's also because they are the most dedicated in getting everything out of their mouse and keyboard setup and gaining every advantage. And that's where the problem comes in, not with players trying to play with their friends on console. Now, if mouse and keyboard isn't cheating, what is? Well, for every mouse and keyboard that you might come across, you might also come across a device called a Cronus Max, which is a USB device that you plug into your PlayStation, and it allows players to import scripts and mods into their games. Rapid fire mods, automatic spotting, anti-recoil scripts, auto healing scripts, and more. These devices are extremely popular in South America and the Middle East, but you will find them just about anywhere. These devices should be considered cheating, and they widely are considered cheating. DICE even made a comment about having a program that would detect these devices, but obviously nothing has come of it. Even in the competitive community, these things are very popular on certain teams. I have my suspicions on who uses them devices. Some of them are pretty reputable players, but I'm not going to fling my shit around like a monkey. But when it comes to MNK, I think it's scummy, and I don't agree with it, but M&K is more of a pay-to-win item than it is anything else, and I don't think it's cheating. That's the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very curious to know what you think of this topic. Do you consider mouse and keyboard cheating on console? Please leave a comment. Let me know down below. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. Turn on post notifications if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Nick, or Catalyst, and I will see you all another time.